All right, tested the. Just wanted to test the chain of draft and chain of thought. There's a new technique called chain of draft. Uh, it's optimization of the chain of thought technique for prompting, for adding to the system prompt. Wanted to see if I can use any of these, how it affects small models, local ones, for the agents. Um, Difference between the chain of thought, of course, and the standard output of the LLM model is huge for the reasoning and for the math problems. So for the questions that have some kind of correct answer, right? It's not open-ended. And wanted to check the inside of the free tiers of different models, how these reasoning things work, and of course local one as well. So let's start. Also, the difference between two of them is that chain of thought is it adds a huge quality difference between the standard output, but it adds as well cost for a large amount of tokens. So the cost goes up a huge amount. And Chain of Drop tries to keep the cost lower because it asks large language models to actually keep the thinking part concise, and it just shows in draft, so it doesn't give so many words as an output. So you still see how it thinks, how it reasons, but it's not really with a large amount of text, because the full text, even the thinking part, goes into the context, and you pay for the tokens. And I want to see what's the difference between these two. So let's start. First, on the large language models that are on the web. On ChatGPT free version, uh, I tried with the regular ChatGPT and just asked the math questions, which I asked all of them, which is like with a huge number, which is 423, 534 times 3124. And by default, ChatGPT, I'm not sure which model on the free one, I guess 4.0 for the starting, it used sorry, it gives me the incorrect answer. Claude as well. I tried it and it gave me incorrect answer. Gemini, it gave me correct answer, so but it didn't give me the reasoning. So I guess this thing was done by some kind of a tool usage. Maybe it has a calculator or interpreter or code interpreter under the hood, and math calculation is just done through the tools. It's not done through the LLM itself. And it gave me correct answer. DeepSeek and Quen, by default, the chain of thought is, I guess, some kind of a chain of thought thinking or reasoning or thinking in the models itself and in the default one. So I guess without this is without this applied. I think it's V3 and still gives you some kind of output without so many thinking tokens. And the output is correct on both Quen and the DeepSeek. On the Quen as well, so it gives you more of the output, uh, but it gives you the correct answer. If you use the thinking part, it's gonna go through a lot longer thinking process, but it's still gonna be correct output. So for the math problem, this all of these three are good. Claude, for these kind of, at least without the tool use, wasn't really helpful. I tried in the Claude to see the difference between the chain of thought and chain of draft, and it's good just to see the output. So this is a chain of draft on the Claude itself. It's smaller and more concise, but it did give me incorrect answer. The chain of thought one was like huge output, right? But in the end it gave me correct answer. But it with the large expense. ChatGPT have some kind of a reason thing, but if you just enable it, there's no system prompt that on a free version that it will listen. And you can just use the reason, and it just gives you two outputs. It's correct one, but it gives you the two outputs, and the second one was incorrect and asks you which one you take. So yeah, I guess the per like pro version that you pay with the reasoning capabilities of O1, it's fine. In the cursor, we have both of them, so that should be fine. This is just wanted to see the smaller or the cheaper models, how we can affect these two. But on ChatGPT, you cannot add a system prompt, so it doesn't, you can't really see the difference. On the Claude, you can. So this is a chain of draft. It's not correct, but it's try to reason. On chain of thought, it reasons and gives the correct answer. So now let's see on the local problems or local models. So I use two platforms. Hugging Face for the 32-bit model of the R1, which is on Quen, which is distilled Quen version 32B. Uh, so I guess it's distilling this Quen model. So for quality, um, for the information. So the I started with just regular R1, right, without any kind of system prompt. So in the settings, I created a chain of thought, and chain of draft, just the system instructions, which are from here, and wanted to see the quality difference on the output. So the first one, without anything math calculation, it was incorrect. With the reasoning, what was built inside, it's just not good enough. Then I used chain of draft to see the difference in the percentage of the quality of the outputs. So in the chain of draft method on the 32-bit model, the output quality was like 50%, right? So it was correct 50-60% of the time. It wasn't correct all the time, but without the reasoning, if I did without any agents, just do the DeepSeek, right, without the system prompt, it wasn't really giving me the correct answer. Also, although it does have some kind of a reasoning uh, behind behind it, because it's built into R1. It's not like if you use Quen 2 without the reasoning added into the model itself, it's just doesn't have the same quality as the R1, but this is Quen 2 with the reasoning, and it's still not good for this answer. If I did the chain of draft, it was incorrect one time, then it was correct the second time, then it was correct the third time, and it was incorrect the fourth time, and it was correct the fifth time. So it was correct on multiple occasions, but then it's incorrect. So it's like 60% or even. Then I used chain of thought, and the quality was correct. Okay, this one was just in the loop process. I guess if it's in the loop, it's incorrect. So sometimes it just go into this, if it goes out of the context, it just goes into the loop and never ends. But whenever it ended, the and the quality and the answer was always correct. So 32-bit remodel with the chain of thought was all the time correct. With the chain of draft was 60% of the time correct. I could try one more time just to see if the chain of draft will be better. So if I go chain of draft, one more time, but the chain of thought was a lot better than the chain of draft. Uh, and this is what I found that the larger model, the difference between chain of draft, chain of thought is not that big. The smaller model it is, the gap is widening. So it just, the smaller or the dumber model it is, it just you can see the difference uh, between the correct answers between these two prompts a lot more. And I thought I used then the local models. So on Olama, there's this is a plugin for the yeah, this is the correct answer. So if it goes, yeah, it's for the 32-bit all the time. Then I use the local one, Olama. Now I have a 6 gigabytes of VRAM, which is not really good, but still I could run Qwen 2 7B and DeepSeek R1 7B, which is basically a Qwen 2 with the reasoning. And then DeepSeek 1.5B, which is really small, and I couldn't make it work with the reasoning. So I started with the Quen 2 without the reasoning, and it gave me incorrect answer. Then I went to the so this is the same thing. Yep, I tried it multiple times and didn't provide the correct answer. Then I tried DeepSeek R1 also with without the prompt. I think somewhere it's here without the reasoning, and it was incorrect. Then I tried R1 with the chain of thought, and the difference was huge. 7B model with the chain of thought, it was correct like 80 to 90% of the like from 10 times it was correct, maybe 9 or 8, I'm not sure, but it was the output qualities was huge. But it did because it produces a lot of tokens. It did got out of the context pretty fast on the a lot of the times on this RTX 3060 with 6 gigabytes of RAM. Um, and at that time when it goes into loop, it just doesn't remember what was the question and just go into the loop. But every time it was correct, every time it was finished, it gave a correct answer. So it was really good output with the chain of thought. Now, chain of draft, on the other hand, also on the, but that was on the DeepSeek R1. On the Qwen 2, which is an older model, I'm not sure how does the Qwen 2 works, but on Qwen 2, chain of thought did not help. On the DeepSeek R1, on the other hand, chain of draft, like on channel Qwen 2, both of these cases did not help. Even chain of draft or chain of draft. On DeepSeek R1, 7B model, chain of draft was 60% of the time correct. So it like there was a huge difference in the output quality. Um, so even though it is better technique optimized for the use as a less token, it depends on how smart or how good model it is a lot, and how big model it is a lot. Chain of thought, on the other hand, boosts the quality of the output a lot, even on a 7B model. On R1 model, like the on 1.5B, it didn't help. It just this model just because you tell him to go step by step, and it's not really smart. It just go out of the inside of the loop a lot of the time, and it's just not. You can't really use chain of thought inside of this 1.5 model. It just a lot of the times it just go out of the context. At least on the this small GPU. Maybe if I have a bigger one, it would be it would finish. I am not sure, but that's like what's the point of having the small models on the huge GPU? You can just use a smarter model and there's no point. So yeah, this one is like in the yes, it just goes with the same outputs and just it's inside of the cursed loop. So 1.5V model, even with the chain of thought. Chain of draft did not go as much on token size, but the quality is like almost the same as the standard one. It's bad. Chain of thought just doesn't give him to finish because it goes out of the context pretty quickly. 1.5, I guess it has a small context anyway. Maybe I can. Maybe there's a option here. For the context size, I am not sure, but um, at least on my testing, 1.5 model for the reasoning was just not good. I guess you can use it for some other task, creative task, or just use the knowledge base it has. You need to see for what these really small models are useful. But on 7B model, it can be run on the 6 gigabytes of VRAM. Chain of thought is really useful, and we can use that. So this was just see how the prompting strategies can be used on the smaller models. So we'll try next on the different techniques, like adding a few shots, prompting, and examples, and all different kind of that can help boost the quality of the small models locally for or small agents locally, like that are specific for some kind of use case. I believe that you can use LLMs, different small ones, with just prompting strategies specified for whatever it needs to use, alongside with the tools usage, to be like really helpful.